Hey there, welcome to episode 119 of WhysAdvice. Getting here, get set up. Let's see what's going on in the world. Let me get Instagram fired up over here. Let's see, Instagram's rolling. David, how are you? So David, meant to tell you, October 21st, it's Project Lift. It is in Indianapolis. It is I'm not sure if it's a run or not, but it's a 5K. So I'll look it up. It's a Weight Watchers event. Weight Watchers has a team participating in the event. It's for the American Cancer Society. So David, if that's October 21st, I'll get you some details on it for sure. But very, very cool. So Denise checked in. Good evening to you. Katie from Tallahassee. Hope all is well there. That side was a little bit of a wet, I understand. Susan checking in from Hawaii. Carrie's checking in. Good evening to you. Karen's here. Both two Karens right back to back. Boom, boom. Mary's here. Jeff is here. Good evening to you, Jeff. Haven't seen you in a while. That's my fault, I know. Amanda, good evening to you. Alicia, hello. Gail says hi. Beaverton, Oregon. Linda's checking in. Very nice. Sheila, hello. Yeah, so it is a walk. I'm not sure if we can run or not, David, but if not, then we'll find one. We'll do, maybe we'll wait till spring, give us all winter to train, and then in spring, you and I will go head to head in the Connect race of the century. So for those of you who are just checking in, David and I both ran a 5K this weekend, and I've been working on my speed and my shorter distances, and I don't have the stamina for a 3-mile run. And so I didn't really, and what I learned today as I ran, I didn't really understand my internal pacing is off. So David and his cousin, David, crossed the finish line, I don't know, but 15, 20 seconds ahead of me, somewhere in that ballpark. I saw them cross the finish line, and then I couldn't keep up. So David and I have a rematch on the calendar. So Lake Elsinore, California, checking in. Good evening over on Instagram. Hello, how are you? Janice is here from Wisconsin. Diane says hi. Yvette, school shooting near us. Pray for your families. Yeah, I don't like that. Where are you at? Is it happening now or did it happen today? I haven't caught up on the news today. I don't do a lot of news because generally it's not good. Judy, happy Wednesday is right. Yeah. Stephen, you here? I trust you got the text okay, right? Looks like you did because you made it right on time. Lee's checking in. Always good to see you, Lee. Colleen says hi. Jamie says hello, hello. Hello, everyone, says Andrea. Donna over in St. Louis. Very nice. Defiance, Ohio. Pat, good evening to you. Lee, you're out of Santa Rosa. I guess I didn't know that. I knew you were on the West Coast. I just didn't know it was Santa Rosa. So, Kim's checking in from Illinois over on Instagram. Thank you, Kim. Good evening to you. Hello, Jessica. Angie's here. Let's see. Jill is here. Good evening to you. Syracuse, Joanne. So, Joanne, the only place in Syracuse I've been to the Dinosaur. Have you ever been there? I'm sure you have if you're from Syracuse. I went there back in my previous eating days. So, Gail from Illinois, good evening. Kathy says hi. Yeah, David, today's pace was crazy. Today was, I'm trying to break the 7-minute barrier, and I was just shy of doing it. So it got a 7:06, I think is what the math ended up being by the time I really, let's see, 7:09 was my pace today. So I'm trying to break the 7-minute mile. If I can do that, I may have been able to do it today if I had someone pacing me because I felt like I had a little more stamina in me. But the internal run of trying to balance how far I have to go and how fast I want to do it makes it tough. Yeah, Kim has a weekend away, so trying to pack that's not easy to do. Daisy's checking in. Oh, so real quick, David. But how cool is that, though, right? To run a 5K on Saturday and then come out on Wednesday and bust out a 7-minute mile. So that's just one of those crazy things that doesn't happen very often in my world. So it's kind of neat. June's checking in while watching the baseball game. El Dorado Hill. A lot of California folks here, and I get that's why, because it's only, what time? 7 o'clock on California time, so. Richard checking in. Good evening to you. Laura, you're very welcome. Thank you for that. There's two things that I use to support the show. One of them is the magnets. The magnets help support the show. And the other is the Patreon link that I use to support the show. Both those things help me cover the cost of the servers and the microphones and the computers and stuff that I'm going to end up getting soon. So thank you. I really mean it. Thank you for your support on that. In the magnets, there's no link. You have to just kind of know where they're at, but I'll post it on Facebook at some point. And the Patreon link, you can go to fatdag.com, click on Listen Now, and there's a link for Patreon. So those are the two ways that we keep the show kind of running. So very fun. I'm working on an exciting deal with really good friends of mine, so I'm waiting for the details of that to be released, but I think you're going to like it. I'm not a big fan of commercials, for one. I don't think they have any place in the podcast. I'm not opposed to obviously bringing on someone who's going to help me support the show, for one, but not a fan of commercials, and I'm certainly not a fan of commercials for products I don't like, use, or never heard of, so I'm not going to give you any of that. So when I get excited, it means it's legit, it's real, and it's going to be something that I think you guys will like as well. So details coming soon on that. Andrea, go Red Sox. Yep. Chris, you notice that Chris didn't check in. When their Yankees start losing, Chris decides to not check in. Let's see. Susan loved the shirt. Yeah, so this is golf clubs. Golf clubs and an American flag. So this is a fun shirt because this shirt, when I bought this when I hit goal a year ago. And so when I was in this phase of just ordering medium t-shirts on anything, so I saw it online, I liked it, it was a medium, and I said, hey, I want it. So I ordered it, I tried it on, and it didn't fit. And so a year later, tonight is the first time I've ever worn the shirt. I've had it in my closet for a year. So think about that for a second. So I bought it when I was at goal. I bought it when I was 178 pounds. So at 178 pounds, it didn't fit. Now at 191, it fits good. Isn't that interesting? So again, that's just a testament to the fact that goal for me is a feeling and goal is a size. Goal is not a number on the scale for me because this shirt didn't fit at 178. It fits really good at 191. So interesting, right? I thought it was interesting. Lee, you walking a 5K is pretty impressive too. One of the folks who was with us, I don't know if she's checked in tonight or not, but one of the folks who was with us on our trek when David and I ran it is she walked her very first. I talked about this the other night. She walked her very first race ever, and she's training for a half marathon where she's going to walk the whole thing. And so if you followed her journey, you would know that's an amazing accomplishment, and she's doing fantastic. So there is no shame in walking a 5K. There is no shame in walking a half marathon. The shame is if you follow the Couch to 5K program and you don't ever get off the couch. That's where the shame is. So, Lenny's checking. I miss Lenny. Very cool. Elizabeth, hello. You're the best. No, you are. Yeah, Teresa, you got your water ready? I got my water. Hello from Georgia's checking in. So, all right, let's see. Got a lot. Linda's weighing in tomorrow. New Hampshire, Nikki checking in from New Hampshire. Like that. Let's see, Wisconsin. Michael, good evening to you, sir. Very fun. Margaret says hi. Durham, North Carolina, listen every day. I appreciate that, Kim. I wish I could do a show every day. You have no idea. The days that I don't do a show, you have no idea how much it pains me because last night was a great example. I planned on doing a show last night, but what happened was Tuesday night. Just so you guys know, for your own knowledge, Tuesday is absolutely the hardest night for me. I work all day. I leave work and go right to my Weight Watchers meeting. And then I leave the meeting, and by the time I get home on Tuesday nights, it's about 9 o'clock. Last night was 9:15, so that's a 14, 15-hour day. So I get home at 9:15, and I had a monster headache, and so I basically just said hi to the family, and I went to bed. But it was like one of those, man, I really wanted to kind of want to get a show in. So I like doing them every day, but let's get real. And you just can't do something every single day. So I just do them when I can. So, let's see. Tulsa's checking in, Southern California's checking in, Minnesota's checking in, all on Instagram. Very cool. I like Tulsa. I go to Owasso a couple times a year, which is just northeast of Tulsa. So, let's see. All right, we're 13 minutes in. Let's get this thing rolling. What do you think? Huh? Let's see. I'm scroll, see if I missed anything. Yeah, there are 37 million of you. Kim, explain the magnets. It's basically this. I put this on a magnet, made it round. If you go to Facebook and scroll down quite a bit, you'll find it on Facebook. And so it's just a refrigerator magnet. So I don't know if I have. Yep, I don't know if I have them. So I go to Tulsa 3 or 4 times a year. I'm always there for Memorial Day for sure. And then looks like I'll be heading there. Actually, I don't know when the next time is, but I probably won't publish it when I go. But I go 2 or 3 times a year to the Patriot Golf Course. It's my favorite golf course in the world, so I go down there and play golf a couple times a year. Let's see. So Jane, I'm going to talk about that in the show tonight, about my running pace. She talked about you working on a 10-minute mile, and that's a lot. So let me tell you, when I first started running, my pace was about a 12 to 13-minute mile. So that's maybe even a 15-minute mile on occasion. So all right. So let's. I'm gonna jump through a bunch of these comments because I got to get down to the bottom. Wow, there's a lot. Yep. So I'm glad we didn't. Let's see what else. Let's see. Gotcha. I love this. I always buy myself flowers after weigh-in. Linda, that is so cool. That's very, very fun. Yeah, Lenny, let's get that one written down, and then we'll do a thing. Lenny popped in here a couple weeks ago, and one of the cool things, doctor cut his cholesterol medicine dosage in half, and in 6 months, if his numbers are good, he'll come off it completely. So let's get that into the book. Hey, we're on a new page. So that's how it works right there. Lenny, your doctor cut your cholesterol medicine in half. Written in the book, 9/13/2017. I would do a sound check. Send me a couple more NS non-scale victories. What are you proud of? I'll pick 1 or 2 more, get it in the book, and then we'll get the show going. Ready? Let's do it. Oops, sorry. Mic check, testing 1 2, testing 1 2 3. Looks good. I can tell from the audio wave side how tall and short they are, if it's going to be good or not. That sounds good. Yep, looks good. The reason I do that is that there's been a couple times when I do the show and it didn't record or the audio was jumbled, and that makes me irritated. Look at that. Let's get that one written down right there. I lost it. So Stacy says, organized and put on a family reunion and stay within her points. You have any idea how hard that is? Very cool, Stacy. You're in. So when you plan big events like that and you're actually able to stay on your points the entire time, that's an amazing accomplishment, because it's just very easy to just say, forget it. And let's get this one written down, and then this is the last one, and then we'll go do the show. So Rochelle says, I'm happy I can wear jeans again. You know, that's those little things that you don't really think about until it happens. But when you start, when you either outgrow or can't wear some jeans or something fun like that, and then you can, man, that's pretty powerful when you finally get back into it. So very, very cool. You guys ready? Jeff, you know what this means, right? Cheers. All right, water is done. Here we go. You guys ready for episode 119? Let me get situated here, get that there. Oh, Chris made it in. Chris, happy Yankees Day. All right, here we go. It takes me a second to get the jitters out. I am your host, FatDag, and you're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together, because I believe in you. That's right. I believe in you. I believe you can do this. I can believe whatever it is you want to do, you can do. Welcome to episode 119 of WhysAdvice. If you don't already listen to the show on the app, I want to take a moment just to let you know that app is available. Every once in a while, I get someone asking me, how to hear the show, or they've listened to it and they didn't even know I had an app. Go to your app store, whether it be the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. In either of them, search for WhysAdvice, WHYS, WhysAdvice with FatDag. Do that search. The app will come up. It's completely free. Last I checked, there are probably about 15,000 downloads of the app, which is absolutely crazy. But the app gives you all the shows in one place. You can do a search for certain topics. You can mark shows as a favorite. You can download them all while you're on your Wi-Fi and then take all the shows with you and play them without having to use any data while you're out and about. So if you don't already have the app, certainly go get it. I believe it's the best way to hear the show. Of course, we're also on Stitcher Radio. We're on iHeartRadio. You can find it in YouTube, find it on Facebook, find it just about anywhere you can find a podcast. But I believe, and a lot of others confirm, that the app really is probably the best listening experience. So just want to give a plug to that. A couple things happened today that were kind of fun that I want to share with you before we dive right into the show. I went for a run today. I ran a 5K over the weekend, but today was my midweek run, and I'm working on speed. So I got out and set out for my run. As you know, if you're following along, when I first started this Weight Watcher journey, I couldn't run at all. A 15-minute mile was about all I really could do, and that was painful. I actually could not run a mile. No exaggeration. Couldn't actually do it. The times that I could do it, when I started running, it was about 15 minutes to get a mile in. And then I slowly was able to get my mile and a half, and I was somewhere around 15 minutes for a mile and a half. The Air Force didn't like that number, certainly. I set now a personal goal, now that I've lost a lot of weight, 91 pounds, and I'm actually doing my training. I have a personal goal of getting an excellent score on my fitness test. In order for me to do that, I have to run a mile and a half in 9 minutes, 45 seconds. It's about a 6:30 pace. So think about it. I was doing a 15:30 pace. I now have to run it in a 6:30 pace. Today I got done my run and I was at a 7:09. So I'm still about 30 to 40 seconds off of my run, my mile and a half pace time. But man, what a great day. So I ran a mile and a half today, 10 minutes, 44 seconds. But what that means, the coolest thing for me is I am now less than a minute away from acing this fitness test. It's 59 seconds and counting. So 59. If I can just shave 59 seconds off of this mile and a half, I can get an excellent score. I can get a perfect score on my Air Force fitness test, and so that's the goal. You'll hear it here first when I do it. I'm pretty positive the day that I run it, I'll go Facebook Live right from the track and letting you know that I did it. So every chance I get to go out and do it, I'm going to go get it done. But for a couple things that were me for non-scale victories there was the fact that I couldn't run a mile and a half before I started this weight loss journey. Then when I started running, it was a 15-minute or so mile and a half, and now we're down to 10:44, and that's killing. So what's funny about that is the 10:44 gives me 8 fit points. That's it. It's 8 fit points. That's all I got. So I'm certainly not going to eat them. Last thing today was kind of fun with my run is as I was unpacking my gym bag, I realized I didn't bring my running socks. So what was funny, and my wife even commented when I got home, because I came home and I'm wearing my, a running shirt, running shorts, and I'm wearing my green Air Force socks. They're wool socks, they're green, they're ugly, but they match the uniform. I'm wearing those with my running shoes, and she looked at me and she goes, "What is that?" And we laughed for a little bit, and I said, "Yeah, I forgot my running socks," and so I ran with these, and she said it. I was thinking it, but she said it. She goes, before, that would have stopped you from running. That would have been a great excuse before. Oh, you didn't bring your running socks. No way, you can't go run. But today was slightly different. So anyway, that's a great run. So no matter where you are in your fitness journey, what I'm trying to convey to you is that if you want it, go out and get it. If you have the ability to run, then just continue working on your goals. If you don't have the ability to run, then just do whatever you can that leads towards that. Walking, any sort of water aerobic, anything you can do, you can increase, but you have to start by setting an attendance goal so that you build up the desire to do it. You build up the habit that says, I want to continue doing this. And that habit today is what let me go running in a pair of green Army wool socks and a pair of running shoes. So that's the deal with that. Next up, last thing I want to talk about is funny post that happened this evening on Connect. A good buddy of mine lives up in Maine, and Maine does not have a Chick-fil-A. So he had to visit Massachusetts for a little while. And while he was down there, he found a Chick-fil-A. He's been following me on Facebook. He's been following me on Connect. He saw my journey, and then what that inspired him to actually join. He's doing fantastic work. He's down about the halfway point of his journey, coming up on 50 pounds lost, which is an incredible accomplishment. So he goes to Chick-fil-A today for the first time in a long time, maybe even ever. He's never been there because they don't have one in Maine. He walks in and he orders what we call now the FatDag special. He orders a 12-count nugget. He orders a fruit cup, only strawberries, and then orders a bottle of water. And after he got done ordering it, the gal at the register said, "Oh my God, are you FatDag?" she recognized the order, and he's like, no, I'm not, but I know him. And she goes, I listen to him every day. So shout out to the folks in Chick-fil-A who listen to the podcast. Thank you for walking with us. Thank you for being in on this journey. And a shout out to the Kathy family. Hey, listen, we love Chick-fil-A. You guys are doing great work with the food, or many of us do. And so, but what I get from a lot of folks is I order my fruit cup with only strawberries. A cup full of apples is not enough to persuade me to give up on the French fries, but a cup full of strawberries, I'll do that all day long. So, but what we run into is there's also there's a lot of Chick-fil-A's that don't do only strawberries. So what I want you to say is please let's get all of the Chick-fil-A's together to honor this strawberries only. If you're trying to do it, here's how I do it. I order my fruit cup. I said I'd like a medium fruit cup. I'd like only strawberries. And what they do is sometimes they look at me and I have to then tell the person at the register, well, what you do is you hit the special fruit button, then you hit open comment, and you type in only strawberries. There's an upcharge for it. I'm glad to pay it. It's cheaper than my copay for my insurance. So therefore, I'll continue to do only strawberries. But here's what I want you to do. If you're listening to this episode right now, it's going to be on Twitter. It's going to be on Facebook. Tag Chick-fil-A. Let them know we want the option to have whatever we want in our fruit cup. A lot of people don't really care for the apples, and there's too many apples in them. So let's see if we can at least customize our fruit cups nationwide. So anyway, that's my introduction. That's what, long show tonight, but I wanted to get that out there to go. So first up, out of the email box, Maria writes in and says, "Hi, Mike. First, I want to say you are so inspiring. Your hard work and your focus have truly paid off. My name is Maria, and I live in Chicago. I only recently stumbled upon your podcast maybe a week ago, and I've been listening to it whenever that I get the chance. Every night I walk after dinner, and I listen to your podcast while I walk. My daily goal is 10,000 steps. I really enjoy walking. I'm 45 years old, and I've struggled with being overweight from the time I was a young girl. I remember shopping with my mom in the chubby girls section for my clothes. I was made fun of for being bigger than the other girls my age. Well, kids can be so mean. I started my first diet freshman year of high school. I've never had a healthy relationship with food. I truly believe I'm addicted to certain foods, mainly sugar, cookies, candy, and ice cream. I've lost substantial amounts of weight in the past, but I have never kept it off. About 7 years ago, I joined Weight Watchers for the first time. My neighbor had tremendous success with the program. I was successful. I tracked every single food, never went over my points, lost every week on the scale. I worked the Weight Watcher program perfectly. I lost 50 pounds and I thought I was done, and I canceled my Weight Watcher membership. My husband said, "Maria, you know what you're doing. You don't need to pay for the meetings." I hadn't set a goal weight, or I hadn't reached lifetime. Fast forward several years and several failed attempts. Since then, I gained all those 50 pounds back and more. I tried doing the Weight Watcher program so many times since then, and I would only stick to the program for 2 weeks at the most each time. I had a very hard time sticking to the program. A lot of habits were just hard for me to break. But this past birthday, in March 2017, I turned 45. I was completely depressed. Absolutely hated the way I looked, and I never wanted to do things with friends. I hated myself for letting myself get to this point. I was eating large amounts of food, and I would eat in private. Eating was my way of checking out. It was my escape for whatever that I was upset about. In the meantime, my husband pleaded with me on several occasions to get healthy. Man, I wanted to so badly. I was just so lost and overwhelmed. On March 30th of this year, I walked back into the Weight Watcher meeting, and I was utterly embarrassed. I think I actually cried during the meeting. I weighed in at 229.6 pounds. I felt so overwhelmed, I can't even explain it. Since then, I've lost 35.8 pounds, which makes me feel good. I go to my meetings on Sunday morning. My problem is I have always been a perfectionist. If I don't do something perfectly, then why bother? I now know how flawed that way of thinking is. This time around, I've had a few weigh-ins where I've gained. Those weigh-ins were tough. The old me would quit and never step foot in another meeting again. This week, I'm struggling with emotional eating. Some of my bad habits have come back, and I'm having a hard time loving where I am in the journey. I still do not like the way I look. I have at least another 50 to 60 pounds to lose. If something upsets me, I eat to forget about it, to self-soothe. For lack of a better way to describe it, for example, a friend did something today that upset me. I ate over it. Of course, I know that me eating over the situation won't help, and I feel worse about going over my point at the end of the day. I'm not sure why, but I've always based my self-worth on others' opinions or actions towards me. For the longest time, I never thought I had the power to lose weight. Other people could be successful, but not me. I may have had some temporary success. This is my way of thinking. I haven't been tracking my food since this past Sunday. I could really use some support to get back on track. Even though my husband is very supportive, he just doesn't get it. He's never been overweight. My friends don't get it either, though they mean well. I was wondering, though, if you could be my wingman, if you could hold me accountable. I think it would really help. Can I possibly send you my weekly weigh-in numbers each Sunday after my meeting? I only weigh in at meetings. I think weighing at home daily for me would be detrimental right now. My why is that I want to be healthy so I can set an example for my kids. I'd like to show them that hard work pays off and that you can achieve almost anything if you believe in yourself. I want to finally feel good about myself and in control of my life. I don't want to feel depressed or miss out on anyone because of my weight. I want my kids to be proud of me. Thank you for your awesome podcast. You give me hope that this battle with weight can be won. I apologize if this was too long. Thank you for listening. Maria out of Chicago. Well, Maria, what a great story you have here, because you've proven that you can win. You've proven that you can get this done. We just got to get you to the point where you believe that you can do it for a long term. And so what you can do is just continue to set those attendance goals. We talk about attendance goals all the time. And so every night you walk after dinner and you listen to the podcast, your daily step goal is 10,000. That is an attendance goal. If you set out every single day to say, hey, I just want to make sure I can just do something. I want to get out and walk. I think the 10,000 number actually ends up being a performance goal a little bit. But the fact that you get out there every night after dinner and get it done is where you're making the most success. Your perfectionism mindset understands the attendance side of it. And I would much rather you get out and do 2 steps and keep the attendance goal going than to not go because you don't have time to get the 10,000. Continue to do that and you'll be just fine. I understand where you're at, at the point where, you started your first diet your freshman year of high school. You have never had a healthy relationship with food. Addictions are strong here. If you're addicted to sugar, cookies, cake, that's why this program works so well right now. Because the moderation part takes a certain amount of balance. And so if we have a strong addiction to sugar, and like a lot of us do, and certainly like I did, one of the answers for me was I had to do a very good job of limiting it. I couldn't have half a cupcake and then decide that, I would be okay by not having the other half, because the addiction for me, I had the most amount of willpower before the first bite. Once I gave in to the first bite, the second bite was harder to resist, and the third bite became even more difficult. So for me, I had to break that addiction by just simply saying no to the first bite and never having to get through. The fact that you've joined this program before many, many times, you understand that every time we quit, we usually end up coming back with a new start date. You've proven that. You've proven that you've lost 50 pounds, which means you clearly have everything you need to be successful. You have a program. You have the proof that you did it. And you have the tools available now that are geared towards reducing your addiction to the sugar. Everything you need right now is at your fingertips. You absolutely can get it done. The piece that's missing is a little bit of love. I understand your why. I understand what got you to goal or got you to join. I understand, you hated yourself for letting you get to this point. Eating was your way of checking out. You're depressed, absolutely hated the way you looked. I understand all of that. I lived through it. one of the things that got me away from that is I finally said, when I got to the point where you're at, and I got to rock bottom, I said, I am done. It was at that point I said, I am going to start loving myself from this point forward, because the only way to get better is to love me enough to take care of me. I want you to start finding all the ways, all the things that you're doing so wonderful in life that you then can say, yeah, I love everything about my journey, and I'm going to then continue to grow up and grow and be the best person I can be given the set of circumstances that you're in. When you get to that point, that's when everything starts to click and you're going to have an amazing journey. So as you continue to struggle with that, perfectionist mindset, we have to understand that this journey does not work for a perfectionist. It just does not. You cannot sustain a perfectionist attitude mindset for the rest of your life. And so if you have to rely on being a perfectionist, then the perfection piece you want to focus on is not quitting. If you can perfectly work this program to the point where you never quit it, that's the only piece that I want you to be perfect at. If you nail that, you will get to goal. I'm positive of that. Now let's talk about, the accountability piece. One of the things that I set out on this show when I very first started the show is I do not want to replace anything that Weight Watchers is currently offering. So I understood in my journey I needed a little more accountability than just the 1 day a week. I also didn't want to go into a personal coaching scenario. It's just not something I wanted to do, but many people have been successful at it. Weight Watchers currently does a one meeting a week. I don't discuss the meeting topic because I want you to go to your meeting to get that topic. Weight Watchers has Connect. Inside the app, the Connect app is where you're going to find your accountability team, and I want you to plug into them. If that is not working for you, there is a personal coaching option that obviously you can pay for, but that'll give you that one-on-one accountability with someone who can look over your tracker, who can look at your thing and talk to you specifically about your journey. As much as I would love to be that person for you, the reality is that as soon as I said yes, I would have, hundreds of emails, and I wouldn't do you a service for that. I would be terrible at being able to hold you accountable because the overwhelming response to that offer would take it out. So let the folks who are good at that do that for you. I've had no training in personal coaching, so I don't even offer any service as a personal coach because I don't feel that's where my strength is. I feel that my strength is telling you that you can do this, and my strength is showing you that I've done it, and my strength is telling you how my journey goes. I want you to dig into Connect. I want you to start looking for some hashtags. The one that comes to mind the most right now is the Blue Dot Challenge. That may work well with your perfectionist mindset to an extent, as I want you to start tracking every single day. I want you to stay within your plan. I want you to stop eating points when you're out of points. Use the hashtag Blue Dot Challenge. At that point, post up your entries. You will be surprised that people will find it and they will tag along and help get you to goal. You can do this. You absolutely can do this. So focus on your strengths. Focus on everything that you're doing right. Celebrate every chance you get along the way. And Maria, let's get you to goal. Next up, PJ writes in and says, "Good morning, my walking buddy. I just got done with my new 3.5 mile walk, thanks to you, and I was listening to your last 4 podcasts again, 84 through 87. I wanted to address something about this whole lifetime status goal topic. I reached lifetime over 20 years ago, but I've only since been listening to you been honest enough with myself to realize that I've lived with a self-induced plateau of complacency for the last 25 years. For all those years, I've been at what I call a socially acceptable weight and at a socially desirable weight. However, it's been about 12 pounds over what I know is my true goal weight, because when I'm at that number, 12 pounds lighter, I absolutely love how I look and I absolutely love how I feel. It's only since listening to your podcast that I realized I've been cheating myself out of that feeling all these years, and that is where I'm headed, and that is what causes me to wake up before my alarm even goes off to get up, get out, and walk to keep my scale on the kitchen counter, right next to my stove. Thanks to your wise advice, I'm getting it done this time, PJ. PJ, when you wrote this email, and this has been in my inbox for a couple of months, and I've been trying to work it in because I absolutely love the term that you've coined. I've even used it a couple times. There is a socially acceptable weight and a socially desirable weight that we can certainly allow us to derail us and get caught in that complacency trap, and you are there. Right? So at some point, it's not a secret that the world continues, many of us continue to be overweight. The world continues to get a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger. So those of us who are just a little bit overweight, we look really fit and healthy compared to the average world, right? And so that is what we consider that socially acceptable weight. You look good, you feel good, you look good and you feel good compared to all of the nation around us. But you yourself know that you can do better. You know that for 12 pounds more, you can get to a point where you're not just socially acceptable, you're not just socially desirable, you are absolutely in love with everything about you. I can't wait till you get there. I checked in on you on Connect just before the show went live to see if you were there yet. You are so close. Some of the photos you've been posting on Connect are absolutely amazing. I can see the freedom in your mind, and I know when you get down all the way to your goal weight, the goal weight that you have decided is the point where you say, I do not want to lose any more weight. When you get there, I can just imagine the tears will be flowing, and I want to hear about it. You're doing great work, a 3.5 mile walk. I know by following your journey, I know what that means to you. I am super proud of you. I'm completely honored to walk this journey with you, and I can't wait till you get to that goal feeling in your rocket. Brandy writes in and says, good afternoon, Dag. I just found your podcast about a week ago, and I've been binge listening because I absolutely love it. I'm not new to Weight Watchers and the weight loss journey. I started my journey in Okinawa, Japan with an online membership only after my first child. I rocked it. I went from a size 16 pre-pregnancy to a size 8 in just 6 months. Well, it was a 2-baby tour, and I found myself in a foreign country with a deployed spouse and pregnant again. I ate to fill the void, and of course, I indulged because, I was supposed to. After baby number 2, I made Lifetime before his first birthday. Within 2 months of Lifetime, yes, you guessed it, my size 4 shorts were quite snug, and I was expecting number 3. Then number 4. It has been 12 years since I made Lifetime. My efforts start out strong, but as soon as I find myself in life, a divorce, remarrying, multiple trips to court, deaths in the family, and though I try not to give myself that life is getting in the way excuse. I'm an emotional eater, and I'm either 200% on program or I'm off the deep end. This time around, I'm having success. I've lost 35 pounds and successfully keeping it off with some new struggles. My new husband of 2 years before we met was very overweight. He's lost a ton of weight and was almost considered healthy weight when we met. He has since put on 35 pounds. He's an amazing man that took on not only me, but also took on and lovingly cares for our 4 children. I lovingly try to encourage him to join me. I try to meal prep for him. I try to encourage him to be active and take time for himself. After 4 years total together, I've realized I'm his crutch. If I'm on plan, he's okay-ish. But if I'm slightly off, it's a mess. He at one point joined Weight Watchers, attended one of the meetings, and fell off. I want him around for the long haul, but I can't seem to get him in that place, and it's hurting my success. I sometimes feel guilty running off to the gym, even though I've scheduled it. I feel bad that I don't want to do a date night at a restaurant or indulge in the things that we used to. I've expressed my concerns in regard to his health, but I feel like I hurt his feelings by pointing out that he's still gaining. I love him regardless, but again, I want to grow old with him. He has a history of diabetes and heart disease in his family, and it plagues me along with the fear of my own health. Well, how would you suggest approaching him? How do I make this look cool and rewarding? From one bro to another, how do I get him to care about self-care and eating well? Well, just a fun fact, when we first met, he fried everything. Vegetable oil was his main vegetable. Now he actually eats broccoli, spinach, salads, and other staples that I provide him for dinner. I really think it's part of his preservation. Sorry for the lengthy message, Brandy. Brandy, a couple quick things before I get into how we address that. So you're doing amazing work. You're down 35 pounds. You're successfully keeping it off. I understand you're struggling. You absolutely can get this done. To lose 35 pounds, you have to be focused on what it is you're trying to do for you. You can do that. You absolutely can do that. What I want you to do is understand that life is real. You know, it's an important part of this journey. We have to understand that life is going to come into play. You know, in the middle of your life, obviously, you know, you have life, divorce, remarrying, trips to court, deaths in the family. All that stuff is heartbreaking. All of that stuff continues to be the reason why now more than ever, this is more important for you to get a handle on what it is you're trying to do and absolutely take care of yourself. The guilt that you feel when you're running off to the gym, even though you've scheduled it, the guilt that you feel when you say, no, I don't want that for dinner, that you absolutely, and I'm going to be kind as I can when I say that, you have to get over that. You have to get to the point where you are the priority for you. Now, when you have children, when you have a loving spouse, it's important to understand their needs, but I can tell you that you have to place your needs just slightly above theirs in some regard. And the reason you have to do that is because you have to take care of you, and only you have the ability to take care of you. So I want you to understand that piece. If you scheduled it in the gym, I want you to go to the gym. If all of a sudden, you know, dinner comes up and it wasn't what you planned, you need to have the strength to say, hey, you know what? This does not fit into my plan. Go if you'd like. I'm not going to go. I've done that a couple times. A couple times that was how I made it to goals, by saying, hey, you know what, honey, I understand that's what we're having for dinner, but you know, it doesn't fit into my plan. It got to the point where we started working as a team and we got, you know, getting it done. When it comes to how do you best approach him, how do you tell him that he's doing it? The way that I want to explain this is I want to talk about my the 5K that I ran this weekend. Bear with me as I go through it, but so I scheduled myself for a 5K. Man, it's 3.1 miles. Do you know how long 3.1 miles is? It's 3.1 miles. It's wow. It's a long distance. And so I signed up with a whole bunch of people, and we got there an hour and a half early. I stood around forever, waiting for people to show up, and it was like kind of boring. I'm standing there. I hated it. You know, and one by one, slowly people started showing up, and it was like, okay. Then we started running, and it was hot out, you know, and there wasn't enough water on the course, and I didn't really have a good time in the run. So I ran, and as I was running, got passed by a couple people. A couple of my friends were out running with me. They passed me. And I kept thinking the whole time, man, this is terrible. And then it started getting thirsty. I didn't have enough water, you know. And then I crossed the finish line. When I crossed the finish line, no one was there. You know, they ran their own race and did their own time, so I didn't see anybody across the finish line. And yeah, so it just, you know, so I ran a 5K. Now, does that sound fun to you? Or would you rather hear this version of the story? So let me get this right. It has been years since I've been able to run a race. And so I signed up excited. I said, you know what? I started training, and I worked on a 3.1 mile run. 3.1 miles, that's pretty neat. The fact that I can actually get out and run 3.1 miles was amazing. I invited other people to join me. I said, hey guys, let's do this together. One by one, they showed up. We spent time at the start line talking about it, sharing each other's journey. And I met some folks who'd never, ever done a 5K before, and we shared in that joy. The gun got off, and we took off, and I took off like you wouldn't believe. I started running this course, and boom, before I knew it, there was a water station. Good thing, because I was ready for it. And I had a sip of water, and I kept running. And as I crossed the finish line, just ahead of me were two of my good friends who I saw them cross the finish line. I saw them beat me. How cool was it that I got to see them cross the finish line ahead of me? I then walked back, and I walked back about a half a mile or so, and I found the other folks in our group, and I walked with them, and I brought them across the finish line. Man, we had a great day. And then after that, we all went out, and we just kind of hung out, and we stuck around, and we got caught up. Which of those stories would you rather participate in? It's the same day. It's the same race. But what I want you to understand is you need to be the prize. You need to focus on you, and you need to share all of the excitement that's happening in your journey so that somebody else witnessing it decides they want a piece of that. Be the prize. Don't continue to struggle. Don't continue to talk about all the things that are going wrong, because there will always be something that you can find that's not going right. If you shift your perspective and you find something that's going right, and that is what you share with the folks who you want to entice, then suddenly the journey becomes more attractive to them. And they feel like they can do it too because you're doing it. No one wants to join a misery party. So you can go ahead and get it done. So Brandy, what I want you to do is I want you to focus on you. I want you to take care of you. And when you get to goal and you maintain your goal, your family through osmosis will naturally start eating healthy and being healthy. And at that point, he will recognize how much fun you're having, and he absolutely will want to join in. That's how you get it done. Last up, Marlene writes in, says, I've recently joined Weight Watchers after deciding I could no longer tolerate the expense and deprivation of a high-protein ketosis program costing $400 to $550 a month. Your recent post on Connect intrigued me, as you clearly are proof that one can eat real food, lose weight, and attain excellent health. I love that you are willing to share your journey to help inspire others to do the same. 2 years ago, at 59 years of age, I was declared disabled with 2 rare progressive connective tissue diseases that have no cure. There are few treatments, and they cause debilitating pain and fatigue. Even worse is the unrelenting depression after losing a job that I loved and I went to for 35 and a half years. Most of my identity and my self-worth came from my work. Also, I was the breadwinner after my husband became disabled by epilepsy 10 years ago, and he lost his job after 25 years working in public schools. I've had a lifelong battle with weight since the 5th grade, 51 years of seeing food as the enemy. At the highest, I was 316 pounds, but with severely restrictive starvation diets, I got down to 248 pounds. Did that this summer. I've already gained 12 pounds since stopping the ketosis diet last month. All fruit was forbidden on the ketosis diet. I've craved berries and melons in season, and I felt so ashamed when I weakened last month and I ate 3 strawberries. When I admitted my cheating to my diet counselor, she chastised me for not fully complying with the protocol, wasting the $97 a week to satisfy my craving of fruit. I was so ashamed that I felt like Eve taking a bite of the forbidden apple. When my friend told me she joined Weight Watchers and had lost 21 pounds in 3 months, I was impressed, and I also was shocked to learn that fruits had 0 points. I decided to quit ketosis diet, and I joined Weight Watchers in August. I kept waiting for that finger pointing from heaven with booming voice saying, "Ha, we caught you, Marlene. Drop the banana." I'm excited to share your journey with my brother, Keel. He is also obese at 265 pounds and just 5'3". He loves really good beer. My father was a career Army chaplain, and after 5 years duty assignment in Germany, our family gained lifelong love of good beer, wine, bratwurst, Wiener Schnitzel, and strudel. My father was constantly worried about his weight and received warnings and lowered his total score in the annual evaluations that were a permanent part of his military life. In spite of his distinguished military service of 30 years, my father was constantly threatened for exceeding weight limits, and he feels he was passed up for promotion due to his weight since he received an excellent rating in the remainder of the evaluation. This brilliant man, just 20 to 25 pounds over weight limits, had earned 2 master's degrees and a PhD. He was honored and offered an assignment at Russian consulate and was awarded the Bronze Medal with the V device for valor for heroic service during active combat duty in Vietnam 1969 and 1970. Under enemy fire, my father went from foxhole to foxhole, offering communion and prayer to all who asked whether he were Protestant, Catholic, or Jewish. He discovered that there are no atheists in foxholes. None of his service mattered when he stepped on the scale. We were stunned when he received notice that he'd been reducted in force in 1978. My younger brother served 20 years active duty as an Air Force air traffic controller at Loring Air Force Base, a year in Korea, a year in Bosnia, and finally landed as a shift supervisor at Dover Air Force Base, where he retired. He loved being in the tower. He was a highly respected shift supervisor and was called upon to train controllers in handling more complex traffic situations. Yet, he also feared the scale, as his weight could fluctuate and exceeded acceptable weight limits by just 10 to 15 pounds. He often deprived himself during our family birthday celebrations and holidays, starving himself to avoid reprimand and warnings to his file. After retiring, he relaxed and he reached 335 pounds on his 5'5" frame. He had a long-time goal to do tandem jump from an airplane, so his wife gave him that as a birthday gift 2 years ago. When he found out he needed to weigh 225 pounds to do a tandem jump, he had a huge incentive and lost the weight in less than a year. Since that time, his wife, an oncology nurse, was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, and he has stepped up to handle everything she once fulfilled for their family. Understandably, he has turned to comfort of food and beer to deal with his stress. He recently confided to me that he and his 23-year-old son, also very obese, are trying to limit the beer intake to support each other in getting their weight under control. His son is shy, introverted, and depressed due to obesity. He wants a girlfriend but is isolated and held back from approaching a girl as he's ashamed by his weight. My hope is by sharing your journey and photos with my brother and my nephew, they will be inspired to start the journey to improved health. I apologize for this long message, but finding your story obviously has greatly affected me, and I'm struck by your generosity in sharing your very personal journey with the public. I'm hoping my family will also be equally inspired and hope we can get healthy together. You will never fully realize the importance and impact of your story to those facing this very difficult struggle. God bless you for your past and continued service to others. Marlene. Marlene, thank you for your email. There's a lot going on in your email, and I want to kind of go through it piece by piece and talk to you about the pieces that I pulled out that I thought were absolutely incredible. First and foremost is your family has a proud military history, starting with your father with a Bronze Medal for Valor. Absolutely, they don't give those away. So what an amazing family you have for certain. So that is very cool. Now, I understand everything you wrote in the journey, and we're going to get into that in a second, but I want to talk about you first. I want to focus on what you're doing right to get this done, because that's where all this starts. If you just listened to the show earlier, you understand I'm going to tell you to be the prize. I'm going to tell you to get to the point where you're healthy and you're doing well and you're rocking this plan so that they want to join you on this plan. The ketosis diet you were on, I don't know anything about it. I've never researched it. But what I can tell you is I'm positive somebody has had success on it, or else it wouldn't still be out there. I'm not saying it's healthy. I'm not saying I don't know enough about it to say good, bad, or indifferent. But what I can tell you is somebody, at least one person, has been successful doing that. The reason that is because most any plan out there works if you have the ability to understand the mind and get the mind in the right place. I want you to get your mind in the right place on this. I want you to get to the point where you now understand that you are the one in control of getting this entire thing done. Now let's talk about, as you ate the strawberries and you admitted to cheating. Now, it's the same thing. The plans work. They've proven that their plan works. They're charging you money to follow the plan. And so in her defense, as she tells you that you're not following the plan, it is kind of foolish at some point to pay $97 a week for something you're not going to follow. I say the same thing to folks who join in Weight Watchers who don't track or who don't even follow the plan, who don't give it any sort of effort to go into it. If you're going to pay for something, do what the plan's asking you to do to get it done. Now understand there's a very, very fine line between motivating you with that information and discouraging you with that information. I'm trusting at this point you're at a place where you can hear this and you're saying, okay, I understand. If I'm going to participate in the program, if I'm going to change my life, I need to know what it is that I need to do to get it done. I'm glad you found Weight Watchers. I'm glad you found our team. I'm glad that you're now at a point where you're able to get this done. Fruits now, it sounds like you love them. There's 0 points. We talked about before, there's still still have calories. So be mindful of that, but you absolutely can get it done. I want you to listen to a podcast. I want you to listen to episode 54. I want you to have your entire family listen to it, because everything you talked about in the military service party email with your family is exactly what I went through. It does not matter how good you can do your job if, as you're doing your job, you're failing on the one piece of your job that's required, and that is to be healthy. You have to be healthy in everything you do in life. It becomes much easier to do everything. So I want you to focus on that part first. I want you to listen to episode 54. It's called I'm a Good Airman. Because I, just like your family, I was a good airman. But I was not doing the piece that I needed to get done to enable to be good at what I'm doing. And at that point, the Air Force was willing to say, hey, you know what? It's time. It's time for us to find somebody else so that we can go ahead and keep the Air Force running with those who are able to do every aspect of the job. And maintaining our weight and maintaining our fitness standard is actually part of the job. I realize that now. I absolutely did it. Your father is an amazing hero. I talked about that earlier. That's pretty cool. Your brother being in Bosnia, I'm confident we were probably there together. I spent some time over in that area during the same time period you told me that he was there. So we are probably crossed path there. What a neat world that is. But I want you now to understand that what I posted on Connect is that saying is that you can eat whatever you want. Right? And that's what attracts many of us to Weight Watchers, is that notion that you can eat what you want. But you have to understand that what you should want, well, you should want to be healthy. You should want to be at a point where you can just go pass a PT test if required. You want to be at a point where you can put on a medium t-shirt. You want to be at a point where you can put on whatever clothes you wear, depending on your size, that fit you, that make you feel good. That want should be stronger than the want for beer and German food. Think about it in this capacity, right? And so, I'm not a huge fan of Justin Bieber. But I can tolerate his songs one or two at a time, and they're actually pretty good, to be honest with you. But if I went to a concert, I would not enjoy it, because too much of anything is too much for me. You're in that same capacity, and shout out to Justin if you're listening, man. Boom, I got you. But I can't do that. So even if it's the best beer in the world, if you continue to do it and do it and do it, at some point you're actually working in the wrong direction. If you like it that much, then figure out a way to have it in moderation so that the time that you have it, you absolutely enjoy it. That's how I work my plan. I still eat real food. I still eat real pizza. I still eat real ice cream. But the times that I have it, I 100% appreciate it for what it is, and it's not mindless eating. I was able to get the goal by doing that. I was able to get the goal because I said, what I want is I want to be healthy. And right now, overindulging on some of the food that put me unhealthy will not make me healthy. I'm honored that you're sharing my story with your entire family. The fact that the only reason that I made a website, FatDag.com, the only reason that website exists is exactly for this scenario. When I was in the Air Force, I didn't have the resource that I needed to get to goal. It just doesn't exist for a lot of us. So I built that website specifically for that community, for military folks who are struggling, who don't know where to turn. I built that so they would have the opportunity to see what is available. One step beyond that, I built that for the men who are out there who don't understand that this is the weight loss journey, does not know a gender. That they too can take care of their health. They can love themselves. They can get healthy. They can be healthy. And then 3, I built it for anybody else who wants to just see the possibilities and connect. So share that website with them. Let them know that a resource exists. Reach out and let's get them to goal. So thank you, Marlene, for your amazing email. Thank your family for all the amazing stuff they've done. And what I want to do is I want to get to the point where we are now all celebrating together, but it starts with you. When you get to goal, I want to hear about it. And what is it that you're celebrating? Let's go ahead and share it on the air. Go to fatdag.com, click on Listen Now, send in your celebrations, your comments, and your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be proud of what you're doing, and I want you to share them so that other people know that this is possible. and you can be the prize, and they can figure out a way to get it done. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Holy cow. That thing says 51 minutes. Sorry. Huh. I don't know. Sometimes I kind of knew as I was getting it ready, I kind of thought it was going to be a little longer. Instagram timed out of me, but I was able to get that rolling again. So sorry for those of you on Instagram. Know that if you're following along on Instagram times me out after about an hour. Instagram times me out. So this is fun. Julie's asking me, I love your positivity. Does it come naturally? It does now, but it didn't before. So Julie, we talk about this all the time. Go to FatDag.com, click on book list, and there's a book in there called The Noticer by Andy Andrews. That book is the #1 book that taught me how to shift my perspective and be more positive. So it's the book that I say it to a million people. If you don't like it, buy the book. If you don't like it, I'll buy it from you probably, because I can find someone else to give it to that they're going to love it. But everybody I've told read it, they have absolutely loved it. So very, very fun. So guys, thank you. Angie says good show. Thank you. You're very welcome. Is it Randall and Kim? So on Instagram, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. So Linda, there's no hope about it, right? I didn't work that into the show, but hopefully, listen to the words. It says, hoping to eventually be the prize for my daughter. I think you can be the prize now, right? You don't need to wait for an end. You can start now by saying how wonderful everything's going, and that and you're working the program, and then you're just showing them now how to get it done. So that's you don't need to wait for an end date, and don't hope. Just go do it. Nikki, thank you very much. Denise, wish you good focus and a great evening as well. April, thank you. Jill, thank you. It looked like there was a lot of conversation going on in there for sure. So, yeah, Linda says the show can't be. Yeah, it can be too long. That's funny. I mean, when I edit it, and I don't do a lot of editing, I just cleaned up the beginning and the end. It'll probably be a 50-minute show, which is crazy. Ellen, you feeling happy that you got in a little sharing? That's fun. Yeah, all these topics are great. Dude, Brian, 5%? That's awesome, man. So, you know what I'm going to say, right? What do you guys know exactly. So Brian, the cool thing about 5%, so you guys, Brian was on episodes 100 and 101 or 99 and 100. I always forget. So listen to 99, 100, and 101. You'll hear Megan and Brian's story. So Megan writes in and talks about she wants to get her dad on the plan. At the same time, he happened to listen to the episode completely unprompted. He listened to the episode. He heard his daughter writing in about him. He heard that. And then he joined, or he was already on Weight Watchers at the time, and then now he started working the program. You got to listen to the email. It's an amazing, amazing story. It's 2 episodes back to back. Well, today Brian hit 5%. So what I'm going to tell you now, Brian, is if you've hit 5%, you've now proven to yourself that you know what you're doing, the tools that you have are working, and you have the ability to get this done. 5% leads to 10%, 10% leads to goal. So absolutely, Brian, celebrate your 5%, and then let's talk about 10% that's on the horizon. Dude, I'm super proud of you. Super, super duper proud of you. Ellen, thank you. Diane, yeah, it is a great book, isn't it? Yep, so there we go. Angie says the notes is an amazing read. Brian's reading it, loves it. Yep. So Nikki says, I'm going on a cruise, and a lot of healthy options should make it easier. If I keep my focus, I think I can. No. So don't, Nikki, one more, let's rephrase that. You're going on a cruise. There's a lot of healthy options. It should make it easier. I will keep my focus. I know I can. I know I can. Think is kind of cool, but think still leaves a little bit of doubt. I know I can. I know I can. Imagine the little engine that could if you just said, I know I can. I know I can. Chris, that is awesome. Good news too, right? So Chris is very fortunate. You have many friends and family all supporting him, and that he's joined Weight Watchers, and they've joined Weight Watchers because of his changes and your attitude toward the plan. Folks, Chris is down, coming up on 100. You got your 100 pounds already, right? Chris, you got your 100-pound charm last week. So Chris is down a little over 100 pounds, and just doing amazing work. So, man, this is fun stuff. At my meetings last night, gave away some awesome bling at the meeting, and giving away the bling is the coolest part. And they're folks who've been with me from the beginning, and to be able to hand them that and see their progress is just incredible. So, man, it's awesome. A lot of you are reading the Noticer. It's my favorite book ever. Daisy, thank you for that. Hackensack, New Jersey, checking in. Let's see. Yeah, be the prize. So did that make sense? And it was kind of I wasn't sure if I should have done it or not, but when I talked about running that race, the way I describe it makes you either want to do it or not want to do it, right? And so it's the same day, and so it's the same thing. I want you, and I trust me, I understand that we will struggle on this plan. I don't think that I do. I think I balance life, but I understand that there are days when I overeat. In the days that I overeat, I don't come sitting there telling you guys, oh, I can't do this. This is so hard. It's miserable. If I did all that, you would be like, oh, well, if he can't do it, I can't do it either. So sure, I overeat. I weigh myself every day. If you're following along on Twitter or Facebook, you'll see that I post my weight entry every single morning regardless. I weigh the same whether I get on the scale or not. And so if you'll notice, I gained 9 pounds a couple days ago. Over the weekend, we had a very, very busy weekend. And so we had a couple things going on. So I ate. And if you look, I gained 9 pounds and then lost 9 pounds in the course of 3 or 4 days. I didn't come on and go, oh, this is so hard, I can't do it. I just said, okay, time to do it. And now I'm telling you how awesome it is to be doing it. And so that is that mindset that I want you to share with everybody, is that you can do this. So, yeah. Lori, yet another one in the books. Thank you very much. Kristen, got to weigh in the morning at home. Yep, I do that every morning on my scale, so I love it. Very fun. Yeah, Nicole, that is, I've been learning that to be true. A couple things about that, Nicole. So Nicole says you love the comment about saying that no to the first bite is the easiest. That's entirely true. I have the most amount of willpower before I take the first bite of anything. After the first bite, then the second bite's hard to say no to. And it gets harder and harder as the day goes on. And then the other thing I notice is if I go to a meal that's not, probably what I have, I change plans and I overeat on a meal, then what I've noticed is if I overeat for one meal, sometimes the next 2, 3, or 4 meals I continue to overeat. And so at that point, then I go, okay, then I finally have a reset meal and I reset everything and I start over and it's fine. But what I know about myself is the more I stay on plan, the easier it is to stay on plan. And if I try and get off plan just a little bit, I know one meal overeating ends up being 3 or 4 for me almost always. And I know that. So I either accept it, and so I accept it. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to go out this weekend, I know that's what it's going to do. I'll just get right back to it. So thanks for recognizing that, Nicole, for sure. Chris, the support is absolutely key. Kat, be the prize. Yep. Linda, so you found them. Very good. Thank you for that. Linda found the magnets on Facebook is where they're at. I love this, Angie. Angie has an Oscar victory. The BMI has gone from 38.2 to 33.7. You're almost at the overweight BMI. Yay, you. I tell you, when I went from obese to overweight, it was awesome. I'm considered overweight again by the BMI chart, just so you know. I'm okay with that, too, just so you know. Yeah, Linda, someone else, Susan, told me that the other day. Her fridge is not magnetic. So you got to find another place to put them. For sure. Let's see. Scrolling through. You're very welcome, Brian, for sure. Sheila, the name of the book is called The Noticer. Go to fatdag.com, click on book list. It's in there. You can order it from wherever. If you order it from there, Amazon throws me like 10 cents if you order it through the website. If you don't, it's the same price. But if you order it from wherever or get it online, the other day someone was telling me they listened to it in the car, which was very fun. So, yeah, I know you guys are all celebrating Chris's accomplishment. Yeah, so Kristen, so you follow me on Facebook and the Weight Watchers app on Connect, right? So you'll see my daily weigh-ins. It's just part of the process. So, Paulette, good night. You're welcome. Lee says we wish you good focus. It takes focus. Jan, thank you for that. Jan, I know. Jan says, "Oh my God, I don't know how you do it." I talked about that in one of the earlier podcasts. I don't know how I do it either. I just know it's important to do. Yeah. So Mary Lou, this is incredible. I love your mindset. Your aunt actually got mad at you at a funeral yesterday because you said no to a bite of her dessert. She doesn't. The part I love about your email is she does not have to understand. It's not her journey to understand. I'm proud of you for saying no to it, and I'm proud of you in that scenario where you didn't cave. What I can tell you about that, Mary Lou, is I don't know where you're at in your journey, but now in my scenario, now that I'm at goal, and I've been at goal now for a year, now when I say no to something, no one questions it. They don't go, well, they understand that, okay, you got it. So while you're trying to lose weight, it's if you give in to they beg you to eat and you give in, then they kind of continue to beg you. It's kind of like your kids, when your kid asks you for the candy at the store, you say no, 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 no. As soon as you say yes, they'll ask you again. If you said no every single time, it wouldn't take long for them to quit asking you because they would just know it's not going to work. So it's that same mindset with them as you have to train them by saying if you don't want the dessert, you have to say no every single time, and eventually they will learn that you were serious. So, very cool. Sounds like I'm coming down with a cold. So Ginger, thank you. If you found the podcast, you're starting on the first episode. You did 3 miles and 9 episodes. Very cool. You're going to love episode 12. 54, I think, is good. 47B, I think, is good. 72 is one that a lot of people like. So you can jump around. The hard thing about jumping around is that you have to remember which ones you've listened to and which ones you didn't. But I would say jump into 12, 54, 47, and 72. Right. I completely agree, Gail. BMI is not everything. It's close. It really is, but it's not everything. So Kim said, I'm so excited today. I changed after work into exercise pants. They were too tight, and today they fit. How awesome is that? Awesome. Yeah, Bunny, Andy Andrews is, he's good. He's absolutely good. Yeah, the Rush Limbaugh of self-care. I met Rush before. Did I ever tell you guys that story? I probably didn't, but yeah, I met Rush and his beautiful wife. How long ago was that? I'll put the photo on Facebook. It's going to take me a couple days to find it. But I have a photo of meeting Rush, and I'm huge. I forget how much I weighed, but it's not good. But I got to meet Rush. He's a good guy. Believe it or not, he has a radio side of him, but when we met with him, coolest guy in the world. He was so super supportive, and it was an amazing conversation. We talked with him for about a half hour, just our family and his, and it was just so cool. Yeah, so Nicole said, no one offers an alcoholic drink. Why do people push food? Because the difference, Nicole, though, is people have to eat to live. So that's why you just prove to them that what you're doing is more important, and you prove that you have the willpower, and they will quit asking you, I promise you. Yeah, so very, very cool. Let's see. So Stuart Mann says, thank you. I needed that. So thank you, obviously, for being here. Let's get a couple quick little, two more things to write in our journal. This is our non-scale victory journal. I write down the cool things. So give me something to put in here, and we'll end the show on that. And then we'll all go have a good night. Wake up to episode 119 in our inboxes. So what do you got? Let's see what you got for Good, fun, non-scale victories. Kat, thank you for that. I'm going to write the next one I see. Dun, 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 dun. There's like a 5-second delay or 10-second delay from what I say to when you guys hear it, and then you have to type it. So there you go. That is actually awesome, Nicole. Let's do that. Let's do that. Nicole said, Nicole did a 5K with 77 Weight Watcher members. I forgot to tell you, the 5K I did on Saturday, there was me, CJ, Linda, Dave. There was 7 of us, and we had a combined total weight loss of 510 pounds. So isn't that cool? That's just fun stuff. All right, so Nicole, I got you in the book. Ginger, that is awesome. Ginger age doesn't matter. Ginger says you're doing a triathlon on Sunday. Which is amazing by itself. But you're also 65 years old. So fun. Anyone that wears a golf ball and a golf flag t-shirt should get a non-scale victory. It's a cool shirt, right? So Nikki's saying, will you have a question and answer again soon? Would love to hear more about 6 points being the difference between in maintenance. So I'll tell you it, that's what the before and the after show is kind of for. The difference between losing weight and maintaining weight. If you can test this theory, if you don't believe me, go into your app, go into the settings, in the Weight Watcher app, go into your settings. In the settings, you can tell it that you're tracking and, or simply filling, but there's also a place to say whether you're losing weight or you're maintaining weight. So look at your point value. If you get 35 points a day, let's just say, because you're trying to lose weight, if you change it and you hit maintain weight, the app will give you up to 6 points to maintain your weight. So what that means is that the reason that's important is because as the maintenance phase, when you hit goal, the maintenance phase is for you to figure out how many of those 6 points you can eat and maintain your weight. So you can make the adjustment. It's up to 6 for most people, but we tell you to start off at 1 or 2. So for the first week of maintenance, add in 2 points. If you lose weight, add in a 3rd point. If you start gaining weight, then 2 is your number, depending on how much you gain. So you play with that number for the 5 weeks, and we want you to figure out how many of those 6 you can eat and maintain your weight. So if the difference between difference between losing weight and maintaining weight is only 6 points, if you're not tracking coffee creamer, if you're not tracking ketchup, you're not tracking your mayonnaise or something like that, or you're eating an extra Hershey's Kiss and not tracking it, then you're eating in a maintenance mode, not in a weight loss mode. So if you're not tracking up to 6 points a day automatically, just by little things, an extra bite here and there, then to your body is in maintenance mode, not weight loss mode. So that's why it's absolutely important to track everything and then to stop eating points when you're out of points. So, Nikki, hope that helps. So, yeah, you see so they're golf clubs and golf balls, right? How cool is that? So, Randall, you may have missed the beginning of the show where I bought this shirt when I reached goal. And so I bought the shirt when I weighed 178 pounds. And this is the first time I've been able to wear it because I'm smaller now at 191 than I was at 178. So, cool. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and see what I missed. Yeah, so that would have been, Nicole, to see what your total for 77 people would have been awesome to see that. The Saints 5K, very, very cool. October 8th, Danielle's got a 5K coming up. Get it done. All right. So no, Nikki, that does not mean that. So your weeklies are totally unrelated to what I just talked about. Your weeklies don't change. Your weeklies are to be factored in with your dailies. Your daily points go up by 6. So eat your weeklies, eat your dailies, and your daily number adjusts by 6 when you reach goal. So you absolutely should eat your weeklies. Figure out how many of them you can eat, but you absolutely should eat your weeklies for sure. Yep. All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. It's been a long night. I want to get the show out there, but very cool. So thank you all for being here for sure. What a fun night. I'm glad you're hanging out with me. I know it's a long night for many of you, so thank you for that. It's Wednesday. Coming up on the weekend is fun. We're getting there. 2 more days. Hang in there. And then we'll do this all over again. So as of right now, the plan is again for tomorrow night to be here at 10 p.m. Eastern. But Thursday night is my second hardest night of the week because Thursday night I do another meeting. So I get home a little earlier on Thursdays though. So that's episode 119. Thank you all for being here. It's an honor to walk this journey with you. I wish you more than anything, I want you to stay focused on your goals. I want you to get this done. You know you can do it. It's easy to do. So have a great night. I wish you the good focus. I will continue to show. Some weekends I get the show, and just a heads up, this weekend is very busy for me. My weekends for the next next 3 or 4 weeks, my weekends are already 100% booked. So we'll see what the weekends look like, but the intent is always to do this every evening. It just doesn't happen. So anyway, with that, have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Wish you good focus. Always.